Back live with you tonight on In Focus. Thanks for staying on. More senior leaders of the governing ANC are joining the contest for the leadership of the party at its December elective Congress. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, the current Cooperative Minister, received the nod this past weekend when the eThekwini Ward 32 branch endorsed her following, of course, intensifying campaign by the National Executive Committee member Zweli, Mkhize, Lindiwe, Sisulu, and many more. Joining us now to share their perspective towards the December Congress, political analyst Asanda Ngoasheng, as well as ANC eThekwini Ward 32 Branch Secretary Njokweni. Sia, good evening, and Asanda, thank you very much for your time. Sia, let's begin with you. What has changed? In 2017, Ward 32 didn't support NDZ. In fact, you went with the current President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Thank you very much. Greetings to you and all the viewers at home. Well, indeed, that is true. But following that, we have worked closely. As we have indicated, that as a branch will accept whichever leader that is going to be elected by the ANC National Conference. But Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma remained a disciplined member of the ANC. She has always participated in all programs and activities of the branch. Those are one of the things that attracted us, that irrespective of our differences at that time, where we had a local government matter in terms of the councillor, she was prepared to continue working with us as a branch. She respected us and attended programs and activities and participated within the branch.
Yeah. Well, what are the big issues that are bonding you together at this particular point, except for your, I suppose, disappointment with the lack of assistance that you say you didn't receive from President Cyril Ramaphosa?
No, it is not directly to Comrade President Cyril Ramaphosa per se, but the organization as a whole. But we would know that currently, right now, the organization is undergoing a renewal process that needs all members of the ANC to remain united in trying to build the organization to its rightful values. Yeah. So it was not really personal to a particular leader, but it was around the discrepancies in terms of processes within the organization that were not happy with at that particular time.
No. You're not going to get away that easy, Njokweni. You can't say it's not personal. You supported this particular candidate. You presented this candidate to the nation. And now you're coming today and say, no, it's not personal. We no longer want you. We want this other one. Why are you no longer supporting this one? You're saying you're not happy with the support that he didn't give you at least, or assistance. What did you expect the president to do for you when you voted for him in 2017?
What we as a branch, which is the basic unit of the organization, expected the president is the implementation of the resolutions of the National Conference of 2017. As a branch, we would gladly say that there's been a slow snail pace towards those implementations of those resolutions. You know that after every 5 years, we do a review in terms of the leadership and the performance. And our basis of not supporting the current sitting president is that we're not really happy in terms of the implementation of the resolutions of the National Conference within 2017. Hence, I did not personalize it to him per se, but the program and the activities of the organizations, more especially the policies. We all know the ongoing issues that are currently happening within our country, the failing economy that is taking place. Right now, we're speaking, the president is overseas and is coming back to the energy crisis and the ESCOM crisis that we are facing as a country. So it's those evaluations that we do at a branch level in our internal democratic processes. Yeah,
but one would say that is less than genuine, because the very same candidate that you are saying you are now supporting is a part of that very same government that has failed in terms of the economy, in terms of governance, in terms of service delivery. I mean, as a disciplined member of the ANC yourself, the kind of language that you say and you speak is that it could never be an individual. It's a responsibility of the collective to deliver on those resolutions. So why would you punish one individual and not the other?
Well, we don't want to talk a lot about another individual, but what we want to talk about is our candidate, which is Comrade Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, whom is a member of the ANC in good standing within the branch. we believe that her attributes, her values, her experience that she has within government as the current Minister of COCTA and also the former African Union President, we believe that she can play a key role in trying to unite the programs of government and the policies of the ANC. Because one of the big challenges that we have within our country is that the ANC sits in conferences, agrees on policies and positions to take, but the lack and the willingness of those policies to be implemented are some of the challenges that we are facing. Yeah. Some of the things that are happening within our country in terms of the failing government efforts that are happening right now are part of us failing to implement our own policies. So we believe that a fresh perspective with a woman leader at the top that we believe in as a member of our branch can be able to take the country forward.
Right. All right, Asanda, well, you've listened to the branch and you've heard what they are saying. Is there a decision around this support? Is a member in good standing? Is a member with wealth of experience? Is a member who's run the Department of COCTA, well experienced in government, and will bring a fresh perspective as a woman in that position? Are all these genuine?
I'm laughing because I always find it so fascinating how it's always so convenient to use people's gender and to say, you know, she's a woman, we want a woman in power, when you actually just need kind of a fall guy at this point, and it doesn't actually matter their gender. We know that Cyril Ramaphosa actually hasn't done anything that he was supposed to do, and in fact, I don't think a lot of us are surprised because he's never actually been necessarily the action man. If you look at his silence during, you know, the 10 years of plunder by Jacob Zuma and his cronies, you will know that he's not an action man, and we all knew that he wasn't going to deliver much, and he's actually delivered on the fact that he's done nothing. And so I think it's interesting that, you know, the same ward that put him forward in the last election is now putting in Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma as if there's anything new or different that she can do, because she herself has done nothing to it. In fact, she has done the opposite of distancing herself from her ex-husband. She's very much been showcased as somebody who is an ally of Jacob Zuma and so forth in an era when we are still trying to recover from the damage that Jacob Zuma and the Guptas and everybody associated with Jacob Zuma decimated this country. Right now, we are in load shedding that is rolling, that is unending, because Jacob Zuma and his friends literally ate through the entire fiscus, particularly when it came to Eskom, and these are cases that they are yet to answer for, even though we know that the Guptas, for example, are in jail in Dubai. We need them to come to South Africa and to account, and we cannot be in a position where we are now wanting the very woman who has been an avid supporter of Jacob Zuma to come and complete the plunder that he and his friends started. I think that this is nothing but a ruse for Jacob Zuma to get a presidential pardon for all his 100 million crimes that he is facing and the charges of corruption and anything else that you can think of under the sun that he still needs to answer for, and has just been ducking and diving and quite frankly wasting all of our time trying to avoid.
So Asanda, what I'm hearing you saying,
the presidential benefits.
What you're raising is that a support or a vote for Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma is a vote for Jacob Zuma indirectly. I mean, especially since he has, of course, called on the branches to get behind it and support him.
Oh, she's very much his proxy. It's very much an open secret that she is his proxy, and as I was saying earlier, I'm still quite surprised that we hold this guy and we as the taxpayers pay his presidential benefits, and he continues to benefit from South Africa after the decimation that he's done and after the decimation that he continues to do and wants to or desires to do, and is now using, you know, branches like Sia's branch over here to kind of create a system of the next level of decimation. And I think that it's really sad that the ANC is continuing to show us that they have zero leaders. Because if you think about it, let's just remove Jacob Zuma, let's remove Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa and think about it from this perspective. Is the ANC trying to tell us that since 5 years ago, they have not found or been able to find a leader who is worthy of leading this country out of this quagmire that these two men, and I include, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, because she's just a proxy for Jacob Zuma. Essentially, we're having another Jacob Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa runoff. And these guys are essentially telling us that in the 5 years, they haven't been able to find leaders who can deliver what South Africa needs, who can take us out of this increasingly failing state that cannot keep the lights on, that consequently cannot keep the water on, and quite frankly has just been in the process of running South Africa to the ground at a dizzying speed. I'm actually quite surprised.
Let's just see her
having
respond.
calm conversations, considering the crisis we're in.
Let's just see her respond to that. Sia, are you out of leaders? Is this the best that you can come up with? And what do you make of that feeling that Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma is really a proxy in this war between Jacob Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa?
Firstly, I think we need to clarify two matters here. One of the quagmires and the decimation Asanda is referring to within this country, that we must also look at the imbalances of the past. We know that the ANC has been here for only 20 years. But the apartheid regime has been here for many numbers, triple of the years that it's been there, and the damage that has been caused throughout the whole time. So I think it's for us to be individualistic is going to be a problem when we are dealing with these matters, because the ANC government inherited an apartheid government which was a failing state. Hence, apartheid was abolished because clearly it was no longer working. So some of the crises that we find ourselves in terms of ESCOM and other things, cannot be attributed to one person in terms of being one ANC leader, which is Jacob Zuma in this instance. So I totally disagree with my sister here, Asanda. But also secondly, in this day and age, it's very disturbing. We're just coming from the August month of saying that another woman is a proxy of another man. So I don't think it's very cordial for us to be that fashion. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma is an activist within her own rights. She has her own political credentials. She's a medical doctor by profession. She's the former vice president of SASCO and served in various institution structures within government and outside of South Africa. So for you to say that she's a proxy of Jacob Zuma is really diminishing her image. She has participated within the NEC of the ANC. She is a leader within her own right. Yeah. And she's elected as an individual with her own right and her own struggle credential out and say that another woman is a proxy of another male leader. So
by the way, Sia, it's the same CV that was given to us in 2017 of Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. It's not the first time that we're hearing that CV, and yes, it is her CV. Those are her credentials. But that still did not stop you from not supporting her previously, even with those impressive and impeccable credentials, because of local politics of a councillor that you were saying you didn't want and she supported and was imposed on you in that ward. But here's a question. Is this campaign running risk of being weakened because there are other names, for example, that have come up, that have received support from a higher structure, that is province, and you are seemingly going against the grain? Let's take a break. When we come back, I'll give you an opportunity to answer that, and then we'll wrap it up. Asanda Ngoasheng, as well as ANC eThekwini Branch Secretary Njokweni. Back live with you tonight, Joan in Focus. Thanks for staying on. Still with political analyst Asanda Ngoasheng and ANC eThekwini Branch Secretary Njokweni. They have put their support behind Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma for the December conference as the official who will take the position of president, particularly in the next administration. Well, let's hear a little bit more whether or not that has a potential of weakening this campaign, seeing that the other minister who has, I suppose, equal experience in the party and maybe also in government, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, he's also a medical doctor, by the way, has also put his hat in the ring to run for this particular position. I mean, do you think that will weaken and divide your campaign in any way, Njokweni?
Thank you very much. No, it won't in any way. I think there are two things that we must understand. Firstly, is that the conference is a conference of branches. It's not a conference of regions or provinces. So when we go to the National Conference of the ANC in December, in the true sense, amandla semasebe, which is the branches that are going to speak more than the leaders of the regions and the province. But also what we must also understand is that going towards conference is that there are engagements. You go and persuade others while also you are being persuaded yourself. We must also know that within the ANC, the ANC is not an individualistic organization. It lives in a collective. And that collective does not only have the president at the top, but also there are other positions and NEC members in moving forward. We believe that through our engagements, and because we want to foster unity within the ANC, we want a watershed conference within the ANC come December, more especially knowing and understanding that both candidates come from KwaZulu-Natal. We're hoping that we are going to be able to find one another, because the position is not really about who becomes president or not, but it's more about uniting the ANC beyond the conference and making sure that the ANC is able to implement its own policies and programs that is going to agree with within the conference that it goes to in December. So we're hopeful that our engagements, because when you engage within the ANC, you engage until the last hour. There's a power of persuasion that happens within the branches that is going to be taking place from now going forward, while BGMs are taking place. But as Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma's branch, we're more than confident that this time around, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, we are rallying behind her support in moving forward.
Right. Asanda, I'm having difficulty looking at what is coming out of this nomination process, and taking from what CA is saying, that the objective is to unify this party. But from the kind of divisions and the number of people, for example, that various branches and various provinces are supporting for this position, it looks something different for me than unity. I don't know whether they will be able to achieve this unity with such a diversity of thoughts on who should be leading this party.
I think that, we've been predicting that 2024 is going to be a watershed moment for the ANC, wherein it's going to be the first time that they're going to receive less than 50% of the vote. And I think that this level of, breakaway and this level of disunity over and above the crisis the energy crisis that we're currently in, which is leading to a water crisis, which is leading or increasing the already existing economic crisis. These are the things that voters are going to hold very dear when they go to make the vote. And so I'm actually at a point where I'm thinking the ANC can elect whoever it elects. They're not going to be necessarily president, because they're highly unlikely to see that 50%. They may still get quite a high number, but I don't see them winning the election outright, considering where we are as a country because of the ANC. And I think that particularly putting people who have allegiances and kind of relationships with the past president, considering what he has done to this country, is one of the things that's going to guarantee the death of the ANC. And I'm often quite saddened when I look at the way with which the ANC and its people fight so hard to bring back its corrupt leaders, and has spent zero effort in trying to find new faces and new people that have the potential to, at the very least, give people some level of hope that there might be a fresh start, that there might be this renewal that they keep talking about and not acting on. Because the ANC has a history of, speaking left and then doing the opposite. And so this is yet another case that we're seeing, that you've got a province that can't even decide on its candidate and is now fielding, Two, there's more that are still going to come, and it's becoming like Oprah, you get a candidate nomination, you get a candidate nomination. Maybe next week we'll be hearing about yours, Thabo, at the rate that the ANC is growing. I'm surprised people haven't made a mistake and kind of nominated somebody outside of the party. That's the desperation and the lack of leadership and the lack of options that this former great political party sits with. I think Tambo, all the greats of the ANC are literally turning in the graves to see the ridiculousness and the laughing stock that such a great political party with such great ideals once upon a time, it has come to this. It has come to, any and everybody can be nominated based on who people think should be the flavor of the month. And by the time we get to December, we'll have even more names and even more confusion. And sadly, at the bottom of this list in ANC People's Concerns is South Africa, which is what we should be concerned about and what we should be prioritizing. And if what's going on right now is anything to go by, we can very clearly see that the ANC does not care about South Africa, is not interested in the best interest of South Africa, and is interested in its own political party factionalism and dragging Jacob Zuma from the grave yet again, instead of doing what needs to be done, which is to make sure that that man never sees anywhere close to a position of power to be able to decimate our country in the way that he was able to, proxy or no proxy.
Completely out of time. Let's leave it there. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, Njokweni, and thank you, Asanda, for coming on tonight. When we continue next, we discuss a weekend cleanup operation that helped spruce up South Africa's coastal heritage, including Robben Island. Stay with us.